South Africa's only black female brewer has had to close her brewery after repeated lockdown regulations banning the sale of alcohol and forcing her out of business. She blazed a trail for many women and black entrepreneurs as a pioneer in the sector. She was the first black African to earn a diploma in clear fermented beverages, and she also holds an honors degree in microbiology. Her business was financed by the Industrial Development Corporation, but she struggled to make repayments when the industry was impacted by alcohol bans. As a small black-owned business, she feels betrayed by the authorities. Apiwe Nxusanu-Mawela joins me now to share her experience. Apiwe, a pleasure to have you on the program. Now, closing a brewery after repeated lockdown regulations, I would imagine that this has been a very difficult decision. Just talk us through your journey leading to you having been forced to close.
Good afternoon, good evening to you and your listeners. It has been a very emotionally strenuous past few months, and I think it's what I've gone through is similar to what many other people have gone through. And I think for me, one of the differences is that I got to a point where I actually had to close. Whereas there's a few other breweries who are also just hanging on. So, like you said, the brewery was funded through the IDC, along with the IDC to put up the equipment. So we actually got our equipment in the country. We bought a few parts from China, Italy. There were some local parts also. We got everything into the country around July 2019. So around this time, we're actually just busy with commissioning brews, starting to run. So when COVID happened in March 2020, we were just within 6 months of operation. So obviously, in terms of sales, we're not where we had projected to be. And we're supposed to start paying our loans in May. So I did apply for loan restructuring, which was unfortunately declined because I could not project volume sales. And obviously at that time, we're in the middle of the ban. I think we're on the second, around the first ban around April. So so throughout the second ban and the third ban, loan deductions were being made. Obviously, we're not making any income. They were returning unpaid. Which was obviously seen as breach of the contract, and a legal process was started January this year. Also had issues with my landlord where I've had sheriff of the court come in to attach the assets. So it's just been a very, very emotional roller coaster, fighting the ban on the side, trying to, keep going, keep the company going, keep the staff having some salaries, having to deal with that emotionally also. And just trying to make things work. Got to a point where I realized, what, it's actually not worth it anymore. It was just becoming too much.
Now, a lot of the time we hear about the impact on the liquor sales ban, and this is on bars and restaurants. But we hardly ever hear about the actual brewers and what impact this or the lockdown has on brewers themselves. Just tell us about the experience faced by yourself and even some of your colleagues.
Yes, to start brewing a brewery, as you know, if it was so easy, everyone would be doing it. It does require a lot of financial inputs. So I've had to put in all my life savings into this business, obviously take up a loan, tie in my whole life into it, and having to every day wake up, for me personally, I went through all the different emotions where there was the point where I was like, no, this can't fail. Being celebrated as the first black, I think I put that on my shoulders to say, if this fails, that means probably all the black people have failed. And I went through all those kind of emotions while this was unfolding. And I think I got to a point where I was like, it is what it is. It's the systems I've tried. I tried all I could. And as breweries, we tried many different things. Personally, I tried to change the brewery into sanitizer, making sanitizers. Yeah. I packed sanitizers, sold sanitizers. I made non-alcoholic products. I focused on the training side of the business just to get going through the different bands. And that's similar to a lot of other breweries. But for me, I think the difference was just the fact that I was talking to people who personally I feel could have helped me and given me some room to actually be able to try make this work, and having to try make things work on the other side, having this big I'll say, thing on top of you that you just constantly have to try, work around, and try and deal with that while dealing with life in general.
Now, as mentioned in my intro, you are being described as a pioneer in this sector, and you've also blazed the trail for many women and black entrepreneurs. But to hear of your kind of hardships may cause some hesitance for new entrants to seek opportunities in this particular market. What is your response to this, and what message would you like to send to others?
You know, at the brewery, Brewster's Craft, I was for transformation. I mean, my whole the whole business was built around breaking the barriers, not only for myself. I always say to people that being first doesn't mean I want to be the last and the only. So it was always key for me that there needed to be more of us and make this industry, you know, it must be a norm. Any person, whichever background or racial background you're from, it should be a norm for you to get into this industry and participate from township, from the rural areas. So I still continue preaching that. I might have, and I don't see it as failure. Personally, I have not failed. It just means that this is the way I did it. COVID happened.